Hello and welcome to another edition of the GetGrowing Weekly Work Session with GetOiling. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of GetOiling, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey, everybody. We're so glad you're here today.
And the other two amazing members of the Red Shirt Club that didn't give me the memo today, Colin and Julie from our team.
Hey.
This is totally, and this is no joke, guys. This is totally coincidental. I literally just jumped onto the call two seconds before this got live and was like, what is going on? We're all wearing red shirts.
It's amazing. It's festive. You know why? Not a coincidence, but maybe a little bit of a coincidence. Our Black Friday deals are live on GetOiling.com for 2022. So you can head over to GetOiling.com to learn more about that. We'll talk about more of what that means for you at the close of the call here today as well. As you're coming in, where in the world are you? We're excited to meet you, hear from you. If you are a brand partner for Young Living, you are in the right place. GetOiling is an incredible community and suite of tools to help you stay organized and grow your business. And this, of course, is a very busy season for you as a brand partner. There's so many amazing things that have already been happening with sales and holiday products and things you can do with them and ways you can share. And of course, new sales coming down the pipeline. So there's lots of exciting things to be on top of. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can use email campaigns to manage all this stuff, because you already have a lot that you got to deal with when you're trying to keep everybody happy and educated and up to date. And then, of course, you want to make sure you're getting the right information out to the right people at the right times. So today we're going to be talking about email campaigns and how they work in GetOiling and how you can use them to save yourself a ton of time, stay organized, and really just buy yourself some peace of mind so that you don't have to repeat things all the time. Anybody love repeating themselves? I don't think anybody here loves repeating themselves, right? Most of us have had kids and we know what that's like. We don't like that, right? So let's look in the chat here. We've got Montana, Connecticut, Arizona, Texas. We've got Northern Ontario, Canada, Oklahoma on the call here in New York City, Fargo, North Dakota. We've got, you're in BC. Where are you in BC, Colin?
I'm in Kelowna.
Kelowna, BC, and then Julie is on the east coast of Florida, right? Awesome. All right, so we're thrilled to have you guys here today. We got more of us coming in from Vermont and Chicago. We usually have a good number of people from all over the world. For those of you who don't know us in our community yet, we are global. And so when we're talking about email and texting campaigns here today, we're not just talking about the US and Canada. We do serve global Young Living businesses. So if you're here today and you're curious about whether any of this can work for you, is a 99.9% chance that it does. So let's go ahead and get into the slides that I prepared for you today. Our training is going to be about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes tops, as usual. And then, of course, we do have space at the close of our call to get into any kind of questions that you have. So do go ahead and head over to the Q&A if you're here on the live call and you need help or support with something in particular, even if it has nothing to do with our topic that we're training on here today. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the slides here and shut off video for our recording quality. And we are going to get this show on the road. Okay. All right, so I've got that. Zoom has updated on me recently and everything is a little bit different. So forgive me for just a second, I'm reorienting here. Okay, so we should be able to see my screen here, right?
Yes,
awesome. Thank you. All right, so today we're talking about campaigns in GetOiling and how you can automate and streamline your communications by using this incredible tool that is a central feature of the GetOiling platform. So what we'll talk about here today first are what these campaigns are, how they work in GetOiling, and best practices for creating, using, and modifying them, as well as how you can go and create some yourself. And then, of course, we will get into live help and Q&A. If you signed up for a live website review or live work review or kind of walk through, talk through today, definitely go over to the Q&A and just let us know that you're here and that you're ready for that, and we will work with you at the close of the call. All right, so, and again, if you have any other questions that have come up for you that you want to have help with here, you want to see something, if you would like to kind of have it spelled out as opposed to trying to read through it, and you'd like to go through something live that you're not quite grasping, totally cool. Add those questions to the Q&A and we will make time to get those answered here on our call today. And if you want to join this call, if you're watching this in the future as a recording on YouTube, you can go to getoiling.com/weekly work session to join these amazing live calls with all of this great community and get help live. And if, like Sarah here, who signed up for a live review today, if you're like Sarah and you would like to get one-on-one help or review on a live call, you can go to getoiling.com/website review. And on the last half of our live session, we will sit down and work with you in a dedicated fashion. All right, so let's get into our training today. What is a campaign? Basically, what this is a series of messages that you've written ahead of time that are going to send out at intervals that you've set over a period of time. So an example of this might be a welcome sequence for a brand new Young Living customer. You want to give them information, but you don't want to fire hose them with information, right? So you may have an email that's about Seed to Seal, an email about the origins of Young Living and Gary. You might have another one about different ways to apply oils, and then more still that you deliver later on, perhaps once their kit arrives, where you break down the different oils that are in the starter bundle, if that's how you are setting this up. So that's just an example, one example. There are so many ways that we can use these that we'll talk about here today. These campaigns, these messages that go out to your people, they can be sent as email, they could be sent as text, or they can be a mix of the two, which is pretty cool. They can be applied to your contacts manually. So for instance, when someone signs up for an account with Young Living using your link, we aren't tied in directly to your virtual office. So we aren't able to send anything on your behalf. In this case, you would have to actually go and then send that campaign to your person or apply that campaign to your new customer manually inside of our system. But campaigns can also be applied automatically. And that's going to be based on a contact's action. So if a contact goes to a landing page or a page on your site with a form and they fill it out, that can apply a campaign. And automation can be applied in a number of different ways. Do reference our training on automations on our YouTube channel for more in-depth information about using automations. And then of course, if somebody makes a purchase on your website, perhaps you sell AFT sessions or you're a coach or something like that, you can have a campaign go out after someone buys something from your website as well. Another way campaigns can be applied is using calendar dates. So if you apply a campaign to a set of people today, but this campaign is about an upcoming event 2 Tuesdays from now, and you want them to start receiving emails the week before, then you can actually have a campaign that's set up to get people excited and engage them toward that event, and even send follow-up messages after that event date. And there are different use cases for campaigns than, for instance, broadcasts, which would be one-to-one or one-to-many one-time messages that you just send right away or you schedule to send later. Okay, so let's go over the differences between how messages are sent out in your GetOiling system. We have basically 3 different ways to use email or text. What you aren't seeing here as a sort of final and interesting option is app notification. So definitely check out our app training on our YouTube channel if you want to learn more about the app that we have that you and your people can use if you have your member area enabled. So for a broadcast, that's going to be one-to-one. You can manually go in and send this out immediately. Right, so you can go to a contact, click the mail button, and then send something out to them. You could also schedule it for a later time if you're, writing that message at 2 a.m. and you don't want to send them a message at 2 a.m. This is really great for follow-ups. So if you are getting back in touch with somebody, if this is a, you're following up from a previous interaction, it's a one-on-one thing, just like you would text or email somebody after you chatted with them to follow up on a conversation. check-ins, hey, did you get your order, etc. Requiring personalized messaging, right? This is actually going to be ideal if you have something that you have to say to somebody that's really just for that person, right? Campaigns are really, by sort of a comparison contrast here, campaigns are something that would be more generic and for everyone. Really personalized stuff is going to be for one-to-one, for broadcasts, okay? One-to-many broadcasts are things that you can send right away manually or schedule for sending later. This is great for syndicating your content. So if you wrote a new blog post and you want to go let everybody know, hey, I just wrote a blog post. If you'd like it, here it is. Or, hey, Young Living's having a sale, right? Here's where the information is. You wouldn't want to necessarily create a campaign to say that there is a sale, right? You could just send out one message. So any kind of one-time announcement is going to fall under the broadcast category, which is not a campaign, right? Lots of ways you can get in touch with people, but I want to make sure you know what a campaign is not, right? And then, of course, a one-to-many broadcast is going to be for a mass audience. Now, campaigns are fully automated. They start sending out either based on a date or based on a contact having taken an action so that they get that information from you. So you don't even have to think about this. Campaigns just do for you like a little robot, right? This is a great way to get new leads introduced to you. It's also great for getting new customers slowly, again, not fire hosing, integrated into understanding and using Young Living products. And then, of course, for ongoing product education, you could, and some have, write an entire book on Ningxia Red, right? Or on the Wolfberry, right? So maybe you want to break down the Ningxia product line into a series of emails that someone could choose to receive once they're interested in learning more about Ningxia. A campaign is going to be a fabulous way to get that information out there so people can get bite-sized and relevant information that they can digest without it feeling like it's such a huge thing that they have to sit down and read a whole book, right? It's a really cool way to be able to get your education out to people. And then it's also an awesome way to send out confirmations. So if somebody booked a time with you, or they filled out a form wanting information from you, or they purchased something from you, maybe they purchased a session with you or a wellness scan from you, those messages to confirm that they have done so can go out automatically using a campaign. So this is the stuff that you don't want to even have to think about. It just does it for you. And that's what we're getting into today. And these also, importantly, these are for evergreen uses. You'll see that the contrast over here to broadcast messages is that campaigns are things that the majority of the time you should be able to use for a very long time, work once and profit often from that work, right? And broadcasts are really the more immediate, responsive things in your business. So you may be accustomed to being very hyper responsive in your business. And so broadcasts make a lot of sense. If you can get into using campaigns in smart ways, you can start saving yourself tons and tons of time, bring back bandwidth into your mind and being, and find yourself with less stress and more productivity and greater results. All right, so let's talk about when to use a campaign. A great time to use a campaign is to introduce someone to you or an idea gradually, right? So that would be like for your leads. If somebody opts in to get a free thing on your website, which, by the way, if you have no idea how to do something like that, we have a free training, getoiling.com/get-leads, all one word, is a 100% free training that you can go through that has a done for you funnel that you can modify to your own liking, right? So a campaign is one of the things that we talk about in that mini course. And it actually gives people an opportunity to not only learn about maybe the thing that you want to help them with, perhaps 3 ways they can start to sleep better tonight, because you know 3 ways they can start sleeping better without even introducing Young Living products, most likely. And then, of course, we are warming them up to the idea of trusting you and then taking your recommendations to buy your shortcut, right? Which is, maybe sleep essence or, putting a particular oil in your feet or whatever at night. So this is just a way to really give people an opportunity to warm up and get used to seeing you, hearing from you, and starting to trust you over time. Another important way you can use a campaign is, again, after a purchase is made. So this would be a confirmation campaign that goes out after somebody buys something on your website, purchases access to a vault. If someone is new to your team, a campaign would be something that you would, again, have to manually apply. However, what you do from there is you just set it and forget it, right? Then they're actually receiving those emails after or texts after they've been applied by you. So for your new onboarding for your new clients, or of course for your Young Living customers. Campaigns are also a fantastic way to run challenges and to engage around live events if you're using a date-based message sequence. And this is just a settings in campaigns that I'll show you here in just a bit, where you can choose to have your campaign messages start sending out on a particular date, which is pretty cool. It's also, again, a fantastic way to break up a big topic into those easier to digest pieces, such as the Ningxia line, just as one example. And then, of course, when it's time for you to sell something that you offer to your leads, right? If you have a business that you run alongside, adjacent to your Young Living business, it's often something that's complementary to your Young Living business, right? Just sending someone an invitation to check out something they could buy once is not effective. We know that. We know that in order for somebody to say yes to Young Living, they have to be exposed 8, 9, 10 times sometimes. And that might be on the low end, right? So a sales campaign actually allows you to drip out messages over time, weaving in nice little stories and anecdotes and testimonials and things like that, that help people to warm up to being sold. You guys have probably all been on someone's sales campaign before if you've ever bought information on the internet, just as an example, right? You're not just going to get one email about this sale. You are going to get a few. And you know what? You might not say yes on that first email, but on the 7th one, you might, right? That might be the one that gets you. And you're finally like, okay, yeah, before I forget about this, let me go do it, right? So campaigns allow you to not have to be on your computer trying to make sure the right people get the right messages about a sale every day. You can have a campaign that actually goes out and nurtures those people toward that close. And then, of course, and this is really, really important as you get into growing a large team, right? And you start getting business builders, brand partners who are working alongside you. Anytime there is information that you would share that is the same no matter who you share it with, things that you would repeat, information that you would share repeatedly, that you don't have to be there to do, right? This is evergreen information. So here is all of the information you need to know about Young Living, or here's everything you need to know about our team, right? Here is our social media. Here is our vault. Here is this page, here is that page, get this book, get these rollers, whatever. If you would say the same stuff to anyone who signs up on your team, and you don't have to be there to personally explain it, why be there to personally explain it? You can have a campaign do this for you. All right, so let's talk about how campaigns actually work in GetOiling. So how they're applied, and then we'll talk about how they're removed as well. Then we'll get into some best practices, and then we'll actually get into the system, and I'll show you how you can create one yourself. So first, campaigns can be applied manually in GetOiling. This is by you going into your contacts and applying a campaign to a single contact or to multiple contacts using bulk contact actions. Campaigns are also applied when a contact takes an action, such as putting their name and email address or their phone on a landing page or signing up for a vault. So this could be for leads, it could also be for purchases. Automations can also apply campaigns. So if somebody clicks a link in an email, that could apply a campaign if that automation that is the link there applies a campaign. Automations, of course, again, please see our additional training on this. It is its own whole deep dive. Automations can do a lot of things, but you could also attach automations to other places in the system. So maybe they start receiving a new campaign after a final email in a previous campaign. So it could be an action they take, or it can be an action that you've planned to take place after an event transpires. And then finally, campaigns can be applied in GetOiling when a lead texts in a code to your GetOiling phone number, and that code is associated with a campaign. And definitely check out last week's training on text marketing if you want to learn how that works. All right, so how are they removed? Right, so let's just say somebody wants to not receive any more of these emails about Ningxia because they feel like they kind of got the point. They bought everything that's in it, and they're, you know, in the product line, and they're just done with emails for all of their emails, like for this week. They don't want to get any more messages about Ningxia. So you could actually go in and manually remove a campaign. And again, that's in bulk contact actions. You can remove a campaign from a lot of people or one person. There is also an opt-out link if it's email. There's an opt-out link in the bottom of all emails that go out on your behalf from GetOiling, unless you change this, which is an advanced thing that you should probably not do unless you are very familiar with this kind of thing. So by default, there is a link in the bottom of the email that they can click to manage their settings, and then they can actually select the campaign that they don't want to be on anymore. Automations can also remove campaigns. So after someone maybe clicks something that says, you know, maybe I don't want this campaign anymore, I'm going to click this because you offer it, that can remove the campaign. Or again, if an event transpires in the system that you've planned for this to happen, they can be removed from a campaign via an automation. They can also use text to be removed from a specific campaign by using the text opt-out code that's associated with that campaign. Or they can simply text the word stop, but that is going to cease all future text communications from you that are broadcast or campaign based. So just keep that in mind. Now let's get into some best practices for campaigns. First, we want to create an outline, or, you know, just basically organize the information that you know you want to include in a campaign that you're creating. Then first, write it all out in a word processor. Please take this step. The reason why technology can feel overwhelming and unfamiliar is because you are trying to do something that you don't normally do in a new setting. You are used to writing out and using words. You do it all the time, right? So if we can just get that done first, then it's really easy to just come over to GetOiling, follow the instructions that I'm going to be sharing with you after I'm done going through these slides, and just copy and paste what you've already written, and you're good to go, right? So please write out what you know you want to say before you come and log in, so you aren't trying to work out both sides of your brain at the same time. That is just a total perfect recipe for exhaustion. All right, so again, we'll copy and paste in plain text in the campaign message editor, and you'll have exactly what you already wrote out, which is exactly what you need to do. And it doesn't have to be daunting. It can be really simple. All right, an important thing as well with campaigns, and this is true about all communications that you send out from your system, please use your own speaking voice. Authenticity over perfection. We are not writing to our 11th grade AP English teacher, right? They are not copywriters, they are academics, and we are not writing academically. So write like you speak. Don't be afraid to play around with punctuation and how you actually write your words out. Being colloquial, you don't have to use perfect grammar. In fact, it often works in your favor to not use perfect grammar in your marketing communication. All right, I get into more of this in our copywriting and email marketing training that we'll talk about later on this call. Another thing that I talk about in there as well is to write like you're speaking directly to one person, right? You're just talking to your best friend. If somebody receives an email from you that says, "Hey guys," that doesn't feel like that's meant for me. Who's that meant for? Did you copy a bunch of people on the email? It looks like you're just sending it straight to me. Am I guys or am I Ashley, right? So make sure that you are speaking directly to one person in your writing, and then use those personalization tags that we have for you in your message composition so that you can actually use people's names, so that when they receive an email from you, even if you send it to 5,000 people, they're going to feel like it was written just for them. Another best practice, make your point. Nobody likes fluff. So after you've written it out, before you come over to GetOiling to put it in, ask yourself, would I read this? Frequency also is way more important than length of messages. It is better for you to send more short messages than huge novels infrequently. Because what we're doing when we're sending out messages, whether that's for people who haven't purchased from you yet, or people who have purchased from you and are your Young Living customers or clients or whatever, we are developing habits. We need to become a habit for our people. And that habit needs to entail zeroing in with their eyes on your name in their inbox and opening the message when they see it. And the only way that we're going to establish a habit, as you well know, is to do something often, right? So err on the side of frequency. We're going to, people are going to like us better for not taking up a ton of their time, right? And getting to the point. And they will be happier to see us more frequently because they are getting that nice feedback that they're looking for from their interactions in their inbox, right? We're giving them what they need and we're making it short and sweet and we're showing up regularly to do it. And we're going to be their best friend in no time, right? And you can do that with 1,000 people at a time if you do this right, which is pretty cool. So another thing that you should consider is avoiding date-centric or seasonal language, unless you are specifically creating a campaign that is for a one-time use, right? So if you are creating a campaign for an event that you are doing, you know, about stress-free holidays, right? Maybe you'll use that next year, right? But it's not something that you're going to use on an evergreen basis. So the majority of the time, you're going to want to avoid saying next Monday, I'm going to, right? Don't say anything like that because, you know, this might show up in their inbox on a Thursday and the thing that you're talking about was long past, right? Don't say as we're going into winter, unless you just plan on having a pre-winter campaign that you use annually, which again, just doesn't really seem like the best economy of time. So try to keep your language evergreen as often as possible, unless you have a specific time-based use case. Then this is really cool, really important thing to do. Provide an automation that allows people to opt out of an email campaign instead of them not knowing what to do and then opting out of all communication with you. Definitely better to give them an option to no longer receive this one so that they can maybe still receive others that you want to send to them in the future. So the way that you do this is to go and create an automation in your system that removes that campaign from a contact and then just redirects them to a simple page that confirms that you've updated their preferences. And then you're going to pop that link into your campaign emails with a call to action. If they don't want to receive this type of email anymore, just click here and you'll be opted out of it. Pretty cool thing you can do with us. Now, pro tip, you guys, if you're just getting started with campaigns, we have some that are already done for you that are compliant to your market that I'm going to show you that you absolutely should be using if you aren't using yet. But there's another really cool thing that you can do, which is to go into our content page here and search our content partners, because a lot of them have campaigns that are already pre-written that work with strategies that they've devised that you can use for all kinds of amazing purposes. We've got several that have incredible educational campaigns that talk specifically about product lines, like I was talking about today. Maybe you want to spread out some Ningxia education over the course of 6 emails, and you don't want to have to sit down and figure out what the heck to say. You can actually purchase that content straight from our content partners on the page right here. Save yourself some time. You do not have to be the oily professor. That doesn't duplicate anyway. All right, so let's get into how we can create and customize campaigns and GetOiling and get into some live help, Q&A, and a website review. All right, so I'm going to get into Jane's account here real quick. And then I'm going to share my screen and show you guys some simple steps to creating campaigns in GetOiling. Okay, so we are seeing, there we go, perfect. So we're seeing the Jane dashboard. So when you're signed into your GetOiling account, what you're going to want to do is head over to campaigns once you know what you want to say. And then we're going to hit create. Now we're going to give our campaign a name. Maybe this is welcome to the team. And we're going to actually give this the same name here. Now, this name right here, when somebody clicks the link in the bottom of your emails and decides that they want to opt out of getting messages, It's going to be important for them to know which campaigns they're on, so they can choose which things that they don't want to be on, right? So maybe this might be your team name. So Oiler Team Welcome, right? That would be clear for them. And maybe I'm just going to call this, there we go. I'm going to call this the same actually here in both cases. Oiler Team Welcome, obviously that could be your team name, and this is going to speak to them. They're going to understand what this means, right? Now we do have different options for our sending medium. The setting here first by default is to use email and or text. So using the contact's preference. So if someone has opted in for email and text from you, they're going to get both if you have this setting. If you would prefer for that not to be the case, you're going to want to choose one of these other options for your campaign. Now, I like to use email preferred, unless you do a lot of texting, in which case sometimes it just makes sense for you to have a text only campaign. But email preferred is going to mean it's going to prefer to send via email, but in the instance that maybe they have opted out of email, they'll still get it via text, right? And same here, if you do a text preferred campaign, it'll prefer to send the message via text, but it could also send it via email if they've opted out of text and you have both forms of contact for them. And then of course, it's very straightforward, email only or text only. You've got those options here. You can also make these changes to what messages specifically get sent what way inside of the campaign itself. So I'm going to keep our default here. That way I can show you what those options are. If you're creating a text-in campaign and you want people to, or text campaign, and you want people to be able to text a word to your GetOiling number and receive campaign messages, you want that to trigger, then you're going to put whatever that word is here. The sequential text-in keyword is going to, it's going to send them everything all at once. So maybe if this is Ningxia is the keyword, maybe the sequential keyword here is all, and so they can get all 6 of those texts at once instead of waiting 20 minutes between each or a day between each or whatever. So you could actually say in the message, text back all if you want to get all of these right now, right? And then you also have a text opt-out keyword. So if we just say no Ningxia, maybe, if they text back no Ningxia, and you do need to tell them this in the body of your messages, text back no Ningxia if you don't want to receive these messages anymore. And that's going to make this campaign stop without them having to text in the word stop and opt out of all text from you, right? Because we all can agree that we would like to continue to be able to send out messages whenever we'd like to the people with whom we are in contact. Another thing we can do here in campaigns is to trigger an automation that is applied to a contact whenever they opt into a campaign. That's something that you can choose to do here. And a use case example might be once somebody starts receiving the campaign Ningxia, you might want to give yourself a follow-up plan to maybe ask that person if they've tried Ningxia yet. And so you'd have a follow-up plan that you create, and then you would add that follow-up plan to an automation, add the automation here. And of course, if you want to use a campaign to give somebody access to a vault, you can use a separate code for that as well. So I'm going to go to create campaign, and then we could start looking at our messages here. We're going to write a new message. If you're writing an email, it's pretty straightforward. You put the subject here, you put the message body here. If this is something that may also be sent via text, you would put that information here, formatting the text message specifically. You can add up to 10 messages with a single, or 10 images with a single text message. All right. Now, once we have this, and I'm just going to make this a welcome to the team. And of course, you would paste in whatever your information is here. And how you do that, if you've written this in a word processor, is you're going to copy whatever your words are. You're going to go to more text, click paste plain text, and then you're going to paste in your from your word processor into your document. And that's going to give you nice, clean formatting that you can go in and modify, and you won't copy in any weird code with your verbiage there. So once you're done, you hit add message. And I'm going to go ahead and create one more. I'm going to duplicate this and change this to maybe day 1. just so you can see the difference, and I can show you how the date-based feature here works. Couple of things under advanced settings, we've got some pretty cool options. Day 0 is always going to go out immediately as soon as a campaign is applied to somebody. So even if you have a date-based campaign that's going to be set to start sending out 2 weeks from now, if you have a day 0 message, it's going to be applied immediately when someone has the campaign applied to them, whether it be by their action or yours. So you have your message here. You can choose to delay it for a few minutes or send it ASAP. You can choose for this to be default, which is whatever the campaign details setting, the one that we did first. And in this particular one, we set it up to and or email and or text. But we can choose maybe for this one to only go out via email. We could maybe choose for this one to only go out via text. Let me copy this one. And this is going to be like our day 2. Maybe we want this one to go out via email. And day 1, we want this text to go out at 9 a.m. Eastern, or sorry, 9 a.m. Central Time. So that's going to be 10 a.m. What is that? 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Central Time is 9 a.m. Eastern. There we go. So yeah, then there we can make sure that this only sends at that time. And then of course, if you want to send this one in a specific time of day, maybe we send that at 8 p.m. Then you can set it up this way, which is pretty cool. Now, if you want this to be something that we set up specifically for a live event, maybe you have a vendor event or a class or something that's coming up in a couple weeks, what you want to make sure that you do is for the emails, the date that you want emails to start sending, right? So maybe you start sending promotional emails 5 days before the live event. So take whatever that date is, subtract 5 days, right? And then you're going to set this for the day before that. Okay. So let's just say, for instance, your class is going to be on the 30th, and you want to start sending out messages starting that Thursday before. That means we're going to make this campaign start on the 23rd. And that means that on the 24th, they're going to receive the first marketing message. The next day, they're going to receive the next one, and so on. And then you can continue with this pattern. You'll actually see which date they'll send on. And that way you can actually have date-based information. Today, this is happening can be words that you use in a campaign if you are using this date setting. All right, so that is how you set that up. Of course, if you are claiming, campaigns as resource bundles from your from your contact partners, or sorry, content partners of ours that you have purchased from. I'll use one here from Grow Workspace just as an example. You can actually go into any of the campaigns that you have received from them, and all you have to do is go in and click the message, and then just change out whatever you want to say in the message itself when you want to make them your own. And that's a pretty straightforward thing. It's just a matter of going in and swapping out words, or swapping out an image, etc., maybe changing the dates, that kind of thing. And you can, when you want to change the dates, you can go up or down. Just always make sure that you click off of it if you want it to save. See? Yeah. All right. So that is basically it. That's how we set up and run those campaigns. Definitely interested in the questions that you guys might have here. And then, of course, we are going to bring Sarah out here in just a minute. Real quick, actually, before we get into the training here, I want to actually show you our Black Friday specials, because this is exciting. We've got some new stuff to share with you guys. If you go over to GetOiling.com, you can actually see we've got our early Black Friday running here, and you can come and learn all about the amazing things that we're offering. We do have our email marketing mastery course, brand my business workshop, and how to move your groups off of Facebook. Those are included. We have a brand new series, you guys, that we're really excited to launch in the new year called the Marketing Mastery Workshop Series. This is going to be your big picture. Like if you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I actually use GetOiling for all the things and like run my whole business the way that I want it to run, you're going to get a bird's eye view and be able to develop a strategy there around these 4 core systems in your business. And that's something that you're going to get access to when you get started with us or renew. And then new monthly customers are going to get 3 months of free two-way texting. And that's going to also include 3 months of unlimited vaults and classes on your account, as well as 200 extra marketing credits per month. That's going to allow you to send a lot more emails and texts with these campaign messages. If you're a new annual customer, then you're going to get a year of free two-way texting. You're going to get a free year of unlimited vaults of classes, 1,000 extra marketing credits per month, a free domain for your website, the personal branding intensive with me. And of course, if you get started with us at Annual Pro or Diamond, you also get one-on-one strategy and tech consult, which is just such a huge thing for you to really zoom in with somebody who knows how to use our system and can look at what you've got going on and help you figure out exactly what needs to happen and when, so that you've got a game plan and don't have to spend all your time on your tech. And then if you are an active customer, anyone who has logged into your GetOiling back office in the last 6 months or refers a new customer during this promo period, it's going to be entered into a drawing to win a free 1-page custom website design and build and a one-on-one session with me. And if you want to learn anything more about these different courses that are being offered that you get for free, as well as our brand new one here, this Marketing Mastery Workshop series, just click this link right here, these links here from this page. And this is on the GetOiling homepage. All right, so definitely come over here, check this out, share it with a friend, use your referral link. If you don't know how to do that, let's go look real quick, go into your dashboard, refer a friend, someone on your team, go to share my sites, and then go right here to my referral link. And then that is going to be the link that you share. Oops, wrong page. That's going to be the link that you share to get your friends, your team referred to GetOiling. And of course, you will be entered. You'll have an extra entry into that drawing when you do so. All right, so let's go look at our Q&A and then and just make sure we aren't missing anything here. And then I want to bring Sarah out to chat. All right, Camelia says, what would be the best campaign or best thing to send to someone who is lost in the system and I want to reach out to them? Is there a time that is too long? So Camelia, I actually wouldn't use a campaign. If you're trying to retouch on somebody that you've been out of touch with for a while, I wouldn't rely on automation for that. I would send a message to them and maybe just kind of own it, call out the elephant in the room and say, hey, I feel like I dropped the ball here. I would even use that in the subject line of the email. I'm sorry, right? And they're gonna be like, what's that? Who's that? And then you tell them, you know, hey, we connected a while back and I feel like I kind of dropped the ball with you. You were interested in whatever they were interested in, and then just set a to-do for yourself to follow up with that person. I wouldn't just drip something out on somebody who didn't ask for a drip series. If there's somebody who is active, you know, a customer, someone you're in touch with, and they've given you that permission, then that's going to be a good thing to do. But generally speaking, if you're not in that kind of contact, or they haven't opted in for something like that, I would just keep it personal and keep it short. Would you want to put that opt-out automation or keyword for every campaign message? Allison, no, I would send it with the first one. In the very first text campaign message, you could say reply, stop Ningxia, or I wouldn't put stop as the first one. I would say reply, no Ningxia, if you want to stop receiving these messages. Do you not recommend using a specific date when it's evergreen? No, because if it's evergreen, then it can be used anytime. So you wouldn't be using a specific date, because an evergreen, like, so think of it this way. When someone gets started with Young Living, there are 5 or 6 key things that they need to know in their first few weeks. So you have a campaign that puts those 5 or 6 key things out. And if somebody starts with you tomorrow or they start with you next March, that it's going to be the same information. That's what you want to use a campaign for. Now, if one of those 6 key things changes and Young Living changes the terminology or whatever, you just go into that campaign, you change the message. And then anybody who gets the campaign from that point forward is going to receive the correct information. But no, I don't include any date-based anything in something that you intend to use on an evergreen basis, because it's no longer evergreen. It's only valid for whenever that date is. Keith, do you have to be a new member to get these prices? There are some ways that existing customers can take advantage of this. So if you are, for instance, going from a monthly plan to an annual plan, right? Or you are upgrading your plan maybe to a higher plan level, just reach out to our team if you have questions about that, and we can make sure that that we can connect you to what you're looking for. All right, Peg says, I recently had a booth at a bridal expo. It went well, but it was fast pass. They moved brides through 20 at a time to keep, wow. We connected with many, did have a system to have them sign up for more information because we were going to get their contact at the end of the expo. I have a spreadsheet with their contact info. I was going to upload to GetOiling, but wanted to know the best way to do that so I can track this group. So upload them to GetOiling with the tag for that event. So brides, date, month, whatever, right? And then what you're going to want to do is maybe just create a follow-up plan for yourself, depending on how many of those of them there were. If there were like 100 or so, what I would do is, I guess it really just depends on how many of them there were. If there are hundreds, I might not do this, but you could create a follow-up plan for yourself, just to like go and check and see if they open their email. Right? Because what you're going to want to do is filter for that tag and then send out a broadcast to those people. Unless, of course, they know that they're going to be receiving a series of emails from you, which is probably not the case because they opted into that event, not you. And you don't want to risk them just tuning you out because you sent them a bunch of promotional stuff that they didn't ask for. So I would send what we would call a spear email, short, specific, expecting a response. To basically say, hey, are you still looking for help with your whatever? And then just have it be written just like you would have written it to somebody personally. Hey, so-and-so, I know you were at the whatever event. I know you've been super busy. I'll keep this short and sweet. You were interested in whatever. Is it something you're still interested in? And then just let them hit reply. And if you don't have an unmanageable number of people, if you got like 500 of them, maybe don't do this. But if it's fewer, then I would just create a follow-up plan, apply that to all of those tagged people, and just remind yourself after maybe 2-3 days to go and see if they open the email and maybe send a follow-up after that, just to make sure that they saw it. Amanda, when you're creating an event, can you ask custom questions when people register? Not in our events manager, no, but you can use a page in GetOiling to function as like a registration page for an event. And on something like that, you can 100% use custom questions. Camellia, this person was put in my downline, but a lot of time had passed from the time Young Living placed them there and the time I actually saw the referral in my email. Would you still send and start with an I'm sorry? And then what would be the best way to approach? Yeah, I would do that. Yeah, absolutely. I would send that email and say, sorry about that in the, in the subject line. And then in the body of the email, say, hey, you may not know me, but you signed up as a customer with Young Living a while back. And I'm actually somebody who's here to support you. And I am really sorry it's taken me this long to reach out. Can I help you with anything? Right? How are you? Can you, just keep it short and sweet, very short and sweet, and just expect that they're going to respond to it, make it personal. And then, see what happens. They may not respond. That happens with placements. They don't know you, right? They just signed up off of Young Living Corporate. They don't know you. So, be okay with that being what happens. But maybe just set a reminder for yourself to maybe try to touch back on that person after a week if they haven't opened the email. All right, Sarah, let me find you and bring you out to chat. Okay, how's it going?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Awesome. All right, so what are we looking at today?
I've just done some campaigns. I've done challenges. I've tried in-person events, virtual events. I send a monthly newsletter, but I don't get a lot of participation. So I'm just trying to find maybe new ways or things that I'm doing wrong to engage the people that I already have, and maybe to find new leads or users as well.
Okay, so starting with what you already have, are you doing care calls?
I don't do a lot of care calls. That is one of my I know I need to work on things. So no, I don't. I do send more text messages than actual calls. So if I need to work on actual calls, then I need to just barrel down and do that.
Yeah. So if you're sending text messages and your people are used to hearing from you that way, that's actually okay. It doesn't have to be a new format if you have a cadence that's working and they're engaging. I would just make sure in whatever communication you have with them that's working, that you reinforce the other things that you're doing, right? You can say, hey, are you on this list? You know, you're missing out on some really important stuff there. Can I help you get signed up for that?
Okay.
Right? Or you could even ask them directly, what are you interested in learning more about? Right? Because it could be in a lot of cases that we'll just put stuff out that we want, that we hope people engage with, but it's based on what we think they need to hear, right? And not on what they're actually telling you that they want to hear. And that goes a really long way. Even just asking, you might not always meet them with exactly what they need, but just the action of, what do you feel like you need from me?
Okay.
And just giving them that space to respond, I think would do a lot. And also just remember that typically the culture of this company, especially if you've been around for a while, is to feel like you have to do a lot more than you kind of actually have to do, in terms of how we communicate with and love on and stay in touch with our existing customers.
Okay.
And so I would definitely maybe release yourself a little bit as well from like the, oh, it should be this way, it should be that way, because it really what we should have is you just loving what you do and loving it so much that you're getting more people in the front door, because the people who are going to stick are the people who are going to stick. And you know, it's that whole pull a horse to water, he's not thirsty unless you salt his food, right? So you know, keep sprinkling the, you know, the salt in the food, and you know, some people will lead to water and some are just going to walk around salty and that's okay. Tell me about what you're doing for your lead generation. So for finding new potential customers.
So that's probably where I need the most help because I don't know exactly the best way to put a lead generation on my website.
Okay.
I I have my website up and running. I have lots of information out there, but I don't. I guess I just don't know how to do my lead generation very good.
Okay. So have you done our mini course, the getoiling.com/get leads?
I don't think I have.
Okay, definitely recommend that you do that, because that's,
Okay.
it doesn't take a lot of time. It's very low tech and pretty straightforward. Do you have a custom homepage?
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking for it. Let me see. Is it the anchor? Let me
Yes.
see. Okay, this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's generic and I don't know if I've even put it out there because I like started working on it and I tried to make it not just oil based, more of
Mhm.
a general to try to lead people in. So I don't, maybe that's my problem.
Okay. So first thing I want to modify this element here because it looks like it's kind of stretching in a weird way, like off the
Okay.
edges of the screen. So real
Oh
quick,
yeah.
I'm not really sure. Let's just go down here and see if we're like, I might need help from our team with this. Size adjustment. No, it's 100. It's auto. I don't know. Why is that? Do you guys see how it's just like going off the page? How do I fix that? I don't know how to fix
That might be,
that.
you said the size adjustment is okay. That's probably for the whole area is my guess.
Oh, for the whole section, you mean like this one?
Possibly.
Or
I don't recall if that one
yeah,
has a size adjustment on there, but
I don't think it does. Okay, so let's see. Because that's the first thing. We want it to actually like show up on the screen. I mean, I'm adjusting the size here, but I don't know why it's going off the page. Maybe
Yeah,
that
it's
is
gotta
something
be
in the
scaled up. It looks like maybe that second line or that last line, like there's a bigger box or something that it's the size adjustment
Got
was
you.
applied to.
Okay. All right. Well, what we can do here is just for now, I'm going to shrink this guy down just so we can see it, because that's going to be one thing you want them to be able to see it all on the page. And actually, this looks like you might have gone through, because this looks very similar to the
Maybe I did.
the resource. Yeah. So this is cool. The thing that you need to know about using your funnel and sort of the landing page here for your funnel is that the context by which people, oh, look, it animated, good job. The context by which people discover something that you have for free is as important, if not more so, than the thing that you're actually giving away, right? Because people aren't, I mean, maybe somebody loves this idea of anchoring their life in a week, but they're probably interested in anchoring their life in a week because they really trust you, because they've been following what you say on YouTube or social, and you've been putting little pieces of information out there that would A, have somebody know what the heck it means to anchor their life in a week, and B, they would know that they want it, and then finally C, they know that you're the person to help them do it. So what I would do is, I think that this is a great start. Let's go check this out here real quick. I would encourage to maybe just have one. Maybe put this information on the page itself and then have this in the pop-up, just a design thing there. Okay. And then, yeah, basically what you want to do is just be out there on social and say, hey, today I'm talking about boundaries. And, here's one way that you can, or share a story or a tip or whatever. Here's one way that you can set up boundaries in your life today. By the way, if you like this, go over to website, click the link, whatever, and get on the list. And you'll be the first to get the information that I share, about stress management or any of the things that that you want to be talking about. So you'll be the first to know about my classes and my content and all of that. So position getting onto your email list, getting into this offer as something that puts people in sort of an exclusive place, like an exclusive club, right?
Okay.
And yeah, and just make sure that you're pointing to it, because it's not a if you build it they will come. It's very much an I built it, come see this, come see this, come see this, right? and you got to kind of make sure that the things that you're doing that are visible are pointing to this thing that you've done.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. We look forward to talking to you again soon. One thing real quick, Allison had a question here I'm going to answer as well. I have not shown you guys actually where to go and find the done for you campaigns in our system. Let me go show you that real quick. Let me get back into Jane's account. And show you guys. So we have several that are for specific markets, and they are compliant for those markets. And that's important. So if you want to go to your campaigns, and then we're going to go, if you've got a bajillion campaigns like this account does, it's going to be at the very end of the list. And you're going to see, let's keep going. There we go. It's going to be, we've got new members. There's an Australian version. We have built-in campaigns for your vaults. We've got new member campaigns for Canada, for global markets, new prospects acknowledgements, and new prospect campaigns. This is a really cool thing. Actually, if you do the Brand My Business workshop, you'll find as well that we actually leverage this new prospects campaign there. So it's actually one that you can use to get new leads into your system. We've got new members for Singapore. We've got again, new members for US. These are all messages that are going to go out to your new Young Living customers that you can apply to them directly. You don't have to worry about writing them. They're already written for you, and they're going to go out over those first 30 days or so that they are new to Young Living. So that's a really exciting thing. And then finally, sorry, one more thing, getting over here, you guys, do make sure you take advantage of this stuff. Please do make sure you take advantage of this. The Marketing Mastery Workshop series is going to be a really important sort of key series of trainings for you to take advantage of in the new year. If you have felt like you're kind of all over the place and you don't know how to make everything kind of come together and work, we've got that in the bag for you. So make sure you take advantage of these. All right, so Allison, not related, but I have an event coming up where I will leave DIY items for a price, elderberry syrup and Christmas spirit spray. I'm trying to figure out the best way to collect information from people. The catch is it's a drop off and I need to leave a QR code and or Venmo. I was thinking I'd like to do a web page where they can find info about those items, Young Living and Venmo, or another way to pay, but Venmo is preferred. Also a raffle to win a thieves cleaner or spray bottle, just brainstorming. It starts a week from Tuesday. So what I would do is maybe have printed handouts, short and sweet little printed handouts that are actually sitting out there. I don't know who's taking the payment or how that would work. Obviously, somebody's probably working that booth or table or whatever, and they would be taking that payment for you. So have little like sort of written pieces of information. You could certainly have a QR code on that written piece of information for them to get even more. But if they're at the table, you really want them to actually walk away having purchased the thing, right? So I wouldn't put too much information in front of the purchase, put just enough for them to know. Maybe there's a sample there they can smell or whatever. They give the money and then have follow our training that we did about realtors and learn how you can put that QR code on the bottle. And that way, they've obviously bought it at a promotional price. For the, in the case of like a Christmas spirit spray, hey, if you'd like more of this, if you'd like to make your own, get my, get the oil that made this smell wonderful, scan this, and then have a QR code or something like that. Okay, yeah, I mean, you could, honestly, what I might consider doing, Allison, is if you've got somebody there, if you can have something that you can give away in exchange for a phone number or an email, and you could use that to get leads. So instead of relying on somebody putting money down, which is a bigger hurdle, it's a bigger barrier to cross, see if you've got do like a little freebie, do like those inhalers. Do stress away in an inhaler, Christmas spirit in an inhaler. Those things are super cheap and you can get them from Amazon. And you'll get one for free when you sign up to get this information on how you should get toxic smells out of your house or whatever, right? I would encourage you to look at this more as an opportunity to collect leads than one to try to make a few bucks, because you're going to get better results from the volume of people that you could potentially grab from that event to then follow up with and have them become your customers. Having them purchase first is just, you're getting a smaller amount of people you can walk away from. So sample in a purple bag. I'm honestly not sure what that means, Allison. But sure, you could put it in a purple bag. You could, what I would do is, again, have a QR code on whatever the product is so they can learn more about it. Awesome. Good questions, you guys. And look forward to seeing what you do with this. Again, go to GetOiling.com, check out those Black Friday specials. And of course, join us in our Facebook group and come back here, not next week because it's Thanksgiving. Ooh, it's holiday season. It's Thanksgiving here in the US next week, so we will not be live. But we will be back the following Thursday. I hope you all, if you're celebrating, have a fantastic holiday. Otherwise, I hope you spend that hour doing amazing things with campaigns, and we will see you in 2 weeks, you guys. Bye.